What's going on, guys? The Free to Play back with another video, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to make good teams for PvP. Now, before the video starts, this video will only cover team building, equipment, Zenkais, and in my next video I'll talk about actual PvP tricks and tips you can use to win your matches. So let's get into it. What you first need to know when team building is the tag the character falls under. So if we go to a new Ultra, he has over 6 tags. When you're building a team, you want to make sure the characters you put on the team have the same tags. And before I start actually building a team, I need to clarify that the teams you can make depend on the characters you have, the stars, and the equipment. So for instance, you may not have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so you may be not able to make the team I'm about to make. So for this team, we're gonna use the GT tag, and that's an easy way to make it so it shows you all the GT units. Now another thing, each character has what's called a Z ability. So if we go to, for instance, where is it? Oh, this Kid Goku, his Z ability is 22% to GT max health base, so 22% more health to all GT units on the team. But what I should clarify is, this may not be the same for you because I have him 14 starred. Characters with low stars have different Z abilities. For instance, we can go to Super Baby 2. If we go here, because he's only 4 stars, his Z ability is 26% to tag GT or powerful opponent, base strike, or blast defense. This is the buff that it gives the units on the team that fall under this tag. Now if I had him at 6 stars, it would be 30%. So stars make a difference to how good a unit can actually be. Now for this team, we're gonna put Super Baby 2 and Super 17. Why? Because they're some of the best units in the game right now. And a good way to tell what units are good is to go to PvP and check the leaderboard. Now if we go here, we can see what are the best teams in the game. This is a good way to find out what people are using. So go in here, you can see the units the best players in the world are using, and you can get an idea of what units are actually good. So if we look at a couple of these, we can see that some units you keep seeing again. For instance, Gohan. So look, if you're new to the game and didn't know anything about it, you would know this unit's good because the best people in the world are using them. Multiple people. They're also using the new units like Raid Shenron and the Omega Shenron. It's a good GT team. So that's how you find out what units are good. You can also go on YouTube and do some research there. But I know we didn't see any Super Baby 2s or Super 17s, but I know for a fact they're good characters since they dominated in the past, and using them is they have kind of busted abilities, which I'll go over in the next video with. But anyway, back to team building. Go back to tag GT. So I have my 3 characters now. When building a team, you build it. I'm building this team to bring it to normal PvP. Now, if you're building a team for a pride battle, it gets a little bit more complicated, but I'll go over that later. For now, we're just going to focus on a team for standard rules PvP. Now, what I would recommend to do is only choose 3 characters you know you bring in every time, and then The rest of the characters are just there to buff the top 3. Alright, now next one I'm going to show you all about is a thing called Zenkais. So, certain characters get Zenkais, which makes them better in the battle and better to give buffs. So, a good example is this Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I should clarify, to Zenkai character, you must have them at 7 stars and get this Awakened Z power, which you can see right here, 7,000. I have 7,000, which is the full Zenkai. Now, to get that power, there are 2 ways to do it. One is to go to the Zenkai Ultra Space Time Rush and do the rush. What you do is you would follow these challenges, completing all of them, and you would do that for each of the levels, and at the end, after beating it, you get 10 of these medals. And after you get the medals, you would go to the exchange shop and exchange them for Awakened Z power on the character you want to Zenkai. I cannot show this right now because I'm broke and I have no medals. Another way to do this, in my personal opinion, is stupid, is to go to the shop and just buy it with Chrono Crystals. But in my opinion, that's a stupid idea. Those Chrono Crystals are better used getting characters. Anyway, back to team building. Zenkais are important because they can provide really good buffs to a team, making the team more usable. If we go back to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, his Zenkai ability gives 40% strike attack, 35% to base plus attack, 40 and then 35 to defense. To element to element yellow and Tag Saiyan. Now, if we go back to Super Baby 2, he falls under the Tag Saiyan and he's yellow. So that means if we put this Goku on here, it would give those buffs to Super Baby 2. What we're also going to do is, and I should mention, sometimes you would use extremes. For example, that kid Goku earlier, he's a really good extreme because he gets more health to characters that fall under the GT tag. So he would be a very good addition to this team. Sometimes you would use EX characters, for instance this Goku, but you would never really use hero characters. Hero characters are basically useless in terms of buff and power, so you would never use hero characters. Now, if we go here, we can also put this Omega Shenron on the team, because his Zenkai ability buffs Red and GT. Not to mention, you also get the buffs of the Z ability. So if we put him on the team, he will give buffs to Super 17. But some of y'all may wonder, what about Gogeta? Now, we could swap out this Kid Goku for this Super Saiyan 4 Goku to give him buffs. Although I don't have him fully Zenkai'd, so I don't get the full buffs, but I do get partial buffs, which are the 25% instead of the 35s and 30s. But if you can put good equipment on Gogeta, then he can probably hold out in the zone without any extra buffs. But he's already getting little buffs from these guys because he falls under Tag GT and Sun Family too, if I'm not mistaken. He's not part of Sun Family, but he's still part of GT. So he's also getting a little buffs from these guys too. Now, there are millions of ways to build teams. So your team may not look like this because maybe you don't have this guy. So instead, we can use a character from a different tag. What I'm about to say is important. So because if we go to a character like Super 17 falls into different tags than just GT, he's also a fusion warrior, an android, a powerful opponent. You don't have, when building a team, you can use a unit from a different tag that the character falls under. If we go to this perfect cell, his Zenkai ability buffs red and android. And if we go back to Super 17, he is red and he's also an android, but he's not GT. But he still buffs Super 17 very much. So he would be a good bench to buff the character. I hope that makes sense to y'all guys. They don't always have to be under the same tag as long as they buff the character. And let's say you didn't have this Goku. We can use the newest Zenkai, which is the Shai Shenron. You also buffs yellow and GT. So of course, I don't have him fully Zenkai, but this is just for an example. Or if you want, you could so you should be able to get the gist of it. Instead of, let's say you didn't even have Cell Zenkai. I know there's potential Zenkai is this great Vegeta. He gives 35% and 40%. So you can use him instead of Perfect Cell if you don't have him Zenkai. And you can see his Zenkai is a little bit different than Vegeta's. He gives 40 and 35%, while Vegeta does... Where is he? $35 and 40. That's a little bit different. It's a little bit more defensive here. Now, you don't have to build it exactly like I do. I'm just telling you to follow the principles of how I was building this team to actually make a team. So let's make a different team now for another example. Let's make something other than GT. What's a good one? I know. We could make, where is it? The Ginyu Force. Now I have all three characters of the Ginyu Force, and in my opinion, this is the funnest team to use, or one of the funnest teams to use in PvP. Even though there are Sparkings, you can buff them so they become busted. So some good buffs for this team are. Oh yeah, something I want to mention. If we go here to if we're trying to make a full Ginyu Force team, right here, these are, you won't use heroes. These are all the options. Now, the only good one here is this Ginyu, because he provides HP buffs. Now, I wouldn't use the rest of these to buff the team. Instead, I would use a different tag. A tag other than the Ginyu Force, because these guys also fall under the Frieza Force, and also they're from the Frieza Saga, which I should explain right now. So different characters are from different points in like the anime. So for instance, these guys are from the Frieza Saga, so they're included here too. Now if we go to a character like, where is he? Can't find him. Am I blind? Hold on, he's not here. I guess that dude doesn't fall under it. Like I was saying, back to the Frieza Saga, a good buff would be this Goku, because he gives these buff to element green and characters from the Frieza Saga Z. So if I remember right, Raccoon and what's his name, Golden get these buff, or more like Golden, because he because this is the tag unit that switches between colors. Colors yellow and green, which is another reason I love using this team, because you can use all colors of the color wheel. And I assume, and I need to explain, that the color wheel is pretty important, but not so important. I'm pretty sure most people already understand, but if you don't, I'll explain it. So each character has a color, and each color has basically a weakness and a color they're useful against. For instance, purple is good against green, because if you're using a purple unit against a green unit, you'll do more damage because you have color advantage. Now, if you have a purple unit and someone's using a yellow unit, then you would take more damage because you're a purple unit and they have color advantage. So green takes down red. Green takes down blue. Blue takes down red. Red takes down yellow. Yellow takes down purple, and purple takes down green. So I hope that clarified. Another character we can use to buff this team is this first form Frieza. Why? Because his ability is this. He would give this buff to units that are purple and tag Frieza Force. So we can put him on the team and he'll give a really good buff to Captain Ginyu. Now again, you don't have to make it exactly how I'm making. I know how everyone has different units at different stars. So let's say you didn't have this Goku right here. You could instead use another good buff would be this Frieza, because he gives 30% to attack Frieza Force or powerful opponent blast attack and defense, and an extra 15 to characters that are both powerful opponent and lingering of evil. These guys only get the 30% buff since they're only under the Frieza Force tag. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get to Pride Battle teams. To build a team, just follow the principle. To build a team for regular PvP, just follow the principles I showed of using characters under the same tag. Even if they're not from the same part of the story, they can still buff one another if their Z ability does it or the Zenkai. So it's very important to read a character's Z ability in their Zenkai, because this guy's a really good Zenkai, and it gives that to Sun Family or Episode Frieza Saga. Alright, before we go to equipment, let's get into how to build a team for Pride Battle, since that's big now. This is not one. Right now, this is my best team for Pride Battle, and probably a lot of people can't make it. And this is my best team for regular PvP. You can see there's only a one is different because the Kid Goku's on here, but my Pride one, Perfect Cell, is on there. That's because in Pride Battle, you have to use 3 characters, and then after the first battle, you have to use the other 3 characters on your team. So you want to make sure each character is a good one. So how do you build a Pride Battle team? It kind of depends on the characters you have. Like I said before, the characters you have depends on the team you can make. So let's say you had a lot of Saga from the movies characters, because I noticed a lot of characters here. You could build a pretty good team. For instance, you could put this God Goku, the new one. Actually, I'm gonna do this instead. You could put Beast, Gohan, Blue Beast, and Broly. What else could you put? You could put this Frieza, Pycon, and Gogeta, and this tag team. Now, I'm not sure if this is the best example, but it is an example. You want to make sure these guys kind of buff each other since they're all saga from the movies. Make sure you pick good characters. And if you're wondering, you could run this different ways. Like for the first match, you could run Beast, Blue Beast, and this Goku and Vegeta tag team. Or for the first team, you could run Frieza, Pycon, and Broly. Or you could just run Frieza, Beast, and Blue Beast. The choices are yours, really. But let's say you didn't have this guy, or these two. You could run just basically any saga from the movies team that's good, or it doesn't even have to be saga from the movies. These guys that fall under different tags too, like Hybrid Saiyan and Sun Family. So if we go to Hybrid Saiyan and Sun Family, you can use these guys too. Broly falls under Saiyan, Super Saiyan, and Powerful Opponent. These guys also fall under not Powerful Opponents, Saiyan and Super Saiyan. Let's mention Fusion. You could put this guy, and I've seen a team like this a lot, where it's Blue Beast, and Ultra Gohan. Not fun. Well, it's pretty good, but I'm not sure how it would hold up now. Another unit you could put is not him. Although he posts red. You could put this Trunks, because even Zenkai units are not just for buffs. They can actually be used in fights. As you saw my best Pride Battle team, half of the team was made of Zenkais, but those characters with Zenkais can actually do pretty well. Or you could put this Kid Gohan. Oh, this wouldn't be the best for Broly because he's not getting that many buffs, I don't believe. But you could still run this team if you put him on some pretty good equipment. Like I said, the possibilities are kind of endless, depending on what you want to make. You just gotta put good units. That's something you don't want to do. It's just only put good units and not think about it. So let's do this for example. Now, making a team like this just screams, I don't know what I'm doing. I just put good units on teams. These teams are just full of like good units, but without any thought to them. For instance, I don't think this is a good team for Frieza since he is a powerful opponent, and I don't think any of these guys fall under that tag. The only reason you'd see teams like this is if someone has the units and this puts good units on the team, but this is a pretty expensive team. So a more realistic one would probably just be like this. Now, of course, you can see ability bonus is pretty low, but like I said before, ability bonus doesn't really do much, or anything for that matter. But you can see this team doesn't really look like it would work that well. True. So you don't want to be the type of dude who just throws random units on the team thinking it's good. Let's do one more example. I know these guys got a plat, so if you get that plat. Let's put this guy back. It's Super 17. Let's put a cheer in. And let's swap these guys out with this guy. It's Super Baby too. So as you just could see, the only 3 units that really work, actually, I can kind of see it really, because the top 3 are Saga from the movies, and the bottom 3 fall under powerful opponent. I guess I could kind of see it, but you want to build a team that gives buffs to each other, and it's pretty good. So, of course, it's all about reading their kits and their abilities. Jiren gives 32% to powerful opponent, and rival universe, and not to mention these buffs. That buff frees it heavily. This team actually worked pretty well. For me in Pride Battle, at least. Not to mention, this one for PvP is probably a team a lot of people were sleeping on, really. Now, of course, I'm not the best when it comes to equipment. But I do know how to get pretty good equipment. So I'll be talking about that. Alright, to find good equipment for a character, there are a couple of ways. For instance, you could just go to the character and go to recommended and tell you some equipment. Oh, also, it shows you characters that would probably pair well with this character. So as you can see, it's the new Gogeta, the Zenkai 1, and the Omega Shenron, which I know gives buffs to Super 17. Back to equipment. These are some of the equipment that it would recommend you. As you can see, this green equipment is not here. That's because it doesn't really show you all the equipment this character can use. So that's one way of knowing, but it's not the best. Another way you can find out is if you go to ranking, and you can see what equipment some of the top players are using for a character. So let's see what the top equipments for. We can see here for the new Gogeta, he's using these equipments. And for Kurama Zamasu, he's a really good Zenkai, both for buffs and for battle. These guys, Goku and Vegeta, and you can find out these guys don't have equipment, and you can find out what equipments are good on the characters by just keep doing this. Let's find another one with the similar characters. Another Gogeta. We can see it's basically the same equipment. So by doing that, you kind of see what equipments are good. Let's click on the same one. See, look, the same 3 equipments. Now, sometimes doing the same 3 equipments. Now, for instance, the type of equipment you put on kind of affects the character. It can make them more defense or more attack based. So, This equipment we could put, or let's go back to the Ginyu Force team and put some equipment on them. But before we do that, let me show you how to get some good equipment. So like I said before, one way you could do it is just go to recommend and look at these equipments. It's important to read an equipment to know what it does. For instance, this one. As you can see for the second slot, I don't have it fully maxed out because it's not red, but I can turn it into 15% if I can get a red slot or very close to it. And this is the last one is locked because I haven't fully upgraded the equipment. This is probably the best example. And you can see only characters that are under Frieza Saga can use this equipment. But how do you get red slots, or what is a red slot? So if we go to equipment and let's just take, I don't know, any equipment, for example, this one, with I believe is apply equipment for this Goku, who I don't even have for the Zenkai. Let's just go back to this as an example. So when you get an equipment, you want to make sure the first slot is red. Why? Because a red slot in the first can guarantee you can get this equipment to godly, compared if the last two slots are red and the first one is green. Also, you can't upgrade the first slot to red. You can only upgrade the other two to red or orange. Orange is the second best because red gives you basically closest to the max of whatever you can get on the equipment, which for slot 2 is 15. Orange can get you closer to that. Not closer, but it can get you close to that. But red will get you closer or to it. So to get a red slot, you just click here. And so look, if you want it to stop when it gets to orange or stop when it gets to red, just swipe this all the way to 30. But you have to have materials like slot removers and 9,000 and 3,000 of those souls. This is why slot removers are pretty important. So what you would do, you just click OK, and you just have to wait till it turns red. This could take a long time and a lot of slot removers, which is why people usually don't have many, or just try to save many or try to get as many as possible. And for a long time, I didn't really notice, and I just went a ton of slot removers go to waste. I'm just gonna stop because I don't want to waste a lot of my slot removers. But the best times to do this would be during equipment bonanzas. Oh, wrong thing. During equipment bonanzas, it's easier to get red slots and orange slots on equipment. And if I believe right, no. We had an ultra equipment bonanza on Monday, I believe. I know we did, it's just not showing up on here. But on Monday, from when this video is posted, we had an ultra equipment bonanza, which made it very easy to get red slots on equipment, and it made upgrading them better with bonuses. Another thing you're probably wondering is, what is guaranteed upgrade? Guaranteed upgrade just means you guarantee that the percentages go up. Now, it takes a lot of slot removers, and you can use chrono crystals instead, which is actually dumb. I don't know why anyone would do that, but you could use this to make the percentage, so instead of 9% and 8.5, it'll probably go up only a little, like 10%. I would only use this if you were on an orange slot and it was very close to the max percentage. So for this, for example, you don't have to try to gamble and try to get a red slot when you could just guarantee it, and it would increase its percentage because sometimes when you upgrade them, the percentages go up and down. So if you run out of slot removers before you get orange and red, you can end up with a less percent on whatever the equipment is, a less percentage on that slot than what you began with. So I'm just gonna do an example on this. As you can see, it would buff it 25%. So let's do that. And now it's closer to its max. Even though it's orange, it's about on level, almost on level with red. And if I did it 2 more times, then yeah, it would be on level with red, even though it's orange. Another place to get some good equipment is the co-op shop. Now, most of the equipments are pretty good. Like, for instance, this equipment is for Vegeta Clan and Frieza Force units. And it's not bad if you can get it maxed out. Most of the equipment are used to make a character or tag better, because a lot of these equipments are very useful, but that's not the only place to get equipments. You can go to, these are 3 places to get equipments. Now for this one, you need to have this certain character at friendship level 5. And to do that, you can just play Let's Fight. But you can only choose one character and do it 3 times a day. And these characters are basically plats to make the unit better. And there are 2 places to get more equipment here. You can get equipment for certain characters under certain tags like Fusion, Potara, and you can also find plat equipment for some characters. For instance, this Vegeta and Trunks. And yeah, the list goes on here. You can also find equipment for certain tags here. Okay, so now let's try putting some equipment on characters. Ginyu Force. These are all the equipment I have for them. Of course, some of it's not upgraded like these ones. But you can only put 3 equipment on a character. And where you put them is important, because if you go to equipment, it says in slot 1, which in slot 2 and slot 3. Which means if I put this in slot 1, he would get 10% more health, base health. If I had put it in slot number 2, he would get the 15 blast and strike defense. And if I put in slot 3, then he would get the 29.95 blast attack. So where you put them makes a difference on what they get. So let's say I wanted him to be more attack type than defense. I can put blast. I could also put this to give him even more blast attack. If I wanted, I can give this to make him more blast attack. Or depending on how you want it, you can make him more defense type. By putting this here, give him defense. This equipment's a good one for defense. Put it right here. In the 500 defense equipment. I can put this for more health. So this is equipment you put to make him more defense type than attack. You don't have to choose one. You could do a mix of both. So you could do this, for instance. You can give him this for blast attack. Actually, you can put this. No, you can put this for blast attack. Nope, I was right first time. You can put this for blast attack. You could put this for defense. And you could do, special move damage means like blue cards. So you get more damage if you put that in the first slot. And base health. Actually, let's make him more blast attack. So yeah, that gives him both offense and some defense. I could probably get more equipment to get more strike damage, but we're just gonna go for that with that for now. These guys, I've seen them been able to take a lot of hits, so we're gonna make them more defense. You can make, for instance, you can make Captain Ginyu an offense. And you can put equipment on these guys to make them defense, because I know they can take a lot of damage. So we can put defense here, and defense here, and probably one offense. No. Looks like I don't got any equipment with it. Well, this will work. So I'm gonna put this on here. These guys, what should we do for them? Let's give them some defense. Put this for blast attack and health restoration. This means during battle, like after they get hit, their health regenerates faster, which is actually pretty good. Now, I'm not saying ignore some of the recommended equipment, because some of this equipment I am using, or I just don't have upgraded. For instance, this one I'm using. I'm also using this, but I'm not using this. That's because I don't really have it upgraded. But they can have some broken abilities. For instance, look at this. If I max it out, I can get 10% Vanish gauge recovery. And Vanish is very important in PvP, because it allows you to dodge attacks. So this third slot is actually pretty busted. I think that wraps up characters and equipment. You can put equipment on these guys, but if you're not gonna bring them in the battle, it's useless. All it does is just add ability bonus. Which I guess if you want more ability bonus, you can just do this. You probably want to put a character equipments that actually make sense, but I'm just putting random ones to show you. There's still one thing we gotta talk about, and it still revolves around equipment. There are things called awaken equips, which are used to make equips that are really good better. So it should be under here. No. Oh, let me just grab this real quick. There's more than this. The best way you can do this is go here, click on Awaken Equips, and these are all the Awaken Equips. To find one, you just click on it, hit select, then you can just hold on it and it'll tell you where to find it. No, not on the Awaken, just click on the equipment, and it'll tell you where to find it. You can do the equipment collection or just exchange for some. So how this works is you get one of the equipments, and you get 4B or higher equipments. And then what am I missing? Oh, I have to buy one of these. You can use it with the Zenkai medal, space-time medals. Then you would hit confirm and try to get a red slot on it. I don't want to get rid of these equips, so I'm not going to do it. You try to get a red slot on them, on the first one. So let's see if I can find an awaken equip. This one is one. So you could, for this, you could re-upgrade it. The problem with re-upgrading this is that it takes something called, what are these called? Slot unlock sold. Oh wait, this is a different awaken equip. Where is the one I use? Oh, here's one. So awaken equips are upgraded the same way, but you want to try to get a red slot for the first one, and you just follow the same steps. Now what I showed you before that required some different soul is kind of a way to get guaranteed like good equips. So if you go here, you see exchange legend medals for awesome rewards. You can get these equipments and it's like guaranteed S. And to get that, you just do whatever challenges are here, and at the end of the season you get the medals. Look, I only get two right now, one of those slot things. So I'm gonna demonstrate this. So I'm gonna buy one of these. It costs 10. Now if I go back to it, so to find it, you go to Awaken Equips, then find that equipment you bought. Nah, this is where it hurts. You have to get rid of 3 S equipments. Now, I keep some spare S equipment for an occasion like this, for instance, these. I already have one. This is a plat for that purple Goku. I already have one at a red slot, so I don't really need these. So I'm gonna use those. And it requires these rare fragments that you can buy using this sort of metal, the one with the square. Or you can get some from the Zenkai Space Rush shop. So let's confirm this. Boom, gets me an equipment. Now if I go back and upgrade this, you can see it requires a slot unlock, so it's going to be upgraded again. Huh, I guess it's not guaranteed this. I could have sworn it was. Now I wouldn't try upgrading it because these slot unlock souls are actually pretty hard to get. It took me a while to get this many coins. And 50 slot removers for one is not a good deal. I really thought this was a guarantee this. Oh well. So yeah, that kind of wraps it up for this part of the video. I kind of want to end it now because it's getting too long. What is this, like 40 minutes now? So I'm just going to end it here. If I missed anything, tell me in the comments. Stay tuned for my next video where I talk about PvP's tips and tricks. And maybe things I forgot to talk about, like the missions and the story.